Hello! Today I am bringing you guys a book review for Gogmagog by Jeff Noon and Steve Beard. I was one of the lucky ones who got sent a physical arc by Angry Robot, so thank you, Angry Robot. Please send me the second one. This was one of those ones where when they had offered it up and I signed up for it, you know, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything, just hoping I was going to get picked because I was very intrigued by the basis of the story. Basically, a group of people are on a boat and they're going on a journey down the river Fainer, which is the ghost of a dragon. And I'm just like, I need to read that. So I was very, very excited when this came in the mail. Now, I finished reading it 2 days ago, and I'm giving it 5 stars. That's what I'm giving it. I very much absolutely enjoyed so much about this book. I was a crying mess multiple times. I was intrigued by the world building and the creativity. The creativity that is in this book is absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. If you like those weird, strange, odd little books, this is going to be like right up your alley. Now, the entire plot focuses around one single journey within like a 12-hour time frame, and it's what's wild about it is that it doesn't feel like it's all happening in one day, but it is. It's all happening within this small time frame. Like the beginning of the book is like, it's like a couple days or whatever, but then once the actual journey starts, it's within a 12-hour time frame kind of thing. And so much happens, and it's because of this river that they're floating down, that each different part of this river is something different because of how Fainer is, the ghost of this dragon is dying, and it's sick. It's got this plight, this plague, and everything that lives within this stream, this section of the river, is heavily affected by the fact that this ghost is dying. And most people they avoid it now. They don't even bother going down this river anymore. But there is a particular character who's like, no, we have to go down this river because I think it will help this other character. The main character, Katie, I love her. I love her. She is a crotchety, angry old lady. And I'm just like, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. There is not enough books that feature old ladies. And you know what? It was perfect. It was definitely one of my favorite elements of the story. But ultimately, there's a side character named Giannis who stole my heart. And his parts in the story are so tragic, especially how you piece them together and how the different events happen. And like when you're told this information like early on in the book about him and his race of people and how they function and work, and then something happens later on and you're like, oh my God, he can't now. And I love, because like it's not like spelled out to you like when these things happen that he gets removed from a certain part of like his culture. And you have to like piece it back together because you have to remember those things that are said. And because I was so invested in Giannis, like it was easy for me to be like, oh my God, no, oh my God. I spent so much time crying over this boy. This poor baby boy. I spent so much time crying over him. And there's one chapter in particular where you could feel the weight of the story to the point where I knew something was going to happen. I could feel it building, and I was getting nervous the more I read the chapter and the further I went into it. And I was just like, something's bad's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I can feel it. I don't know how they managed to just make that chapter feel like something was going to happen. And eventually something did happen, and I was left a crying mess. But I don't know what they did to actually make the entire chapter just like ooze with that feeling, but I appreciated it so freaking much, because a lot of time, and like the thing is like I couldn't anticipate what was gonna happen, but I knew something was gonna happen. Like the vibe and the feeling that it was giving me, I was like, something's going to happen, but I couldn't figure out what. And I appreciate that, because lately so many books are so predictable. And that's one of the things that I really, really like about this, is that it was not predictable. There was just this weird, crazy creativity going on that I didn't know where the story was gonna go next. Every chapter, it just like immediately starts like somewhere else in this journey, like the next part. Like we don't always see the transition from point A to point B to point C to point D. Instead, it's like we're in point A, and then the next chapter starts, and it's like there's people fighting in the middle of a town square, and you're like, when did we get to a town square? And I really liked that. Like I liked the jumpy choppiness of like going from like each section of this river, but it also didn't feel like it ruined the immersion for me either, because it like kept me on my toes and kept me just going, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Like this was one of those books where I was reading it at night and I was like, one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. And I think I ended up stopping at like 3 or 4 in the morning, because I was like, oh, I have to take my kid to school in a couple hours. I should probably stop reading. But the imagination for like the races that are in this, like the different like fantasy races that are in this, it's so interesting and it's so intriguing, and I love the thought and the care that went into it. And I love the fact that like for a while now, a lot of fantasy books haven't felt like they've been hitting that fantasy element. Like you've got your fae and your elves and like your dwarves and stuff, but like this was like, I have an idea and I'm gonna run with it, and I'm gonna make it as unique as I possibly can, and then go from there. Like of course you're gonna find similar elements probably with other books that maybe I haven't read, and that's why they're unique to me. But it wasn't just your run-of-the-mill, that's an elf, that's a dwarf, that's a mermaid. Like it wasn't like any of that. And I really, really appreciated that, because I have been yearning for just fantasy, just like something different, something creative and imaginative. And I don't feel like that's really been apparent in a lot of fantasy that's been coming out recently. Overall, it's just, because I don't want to say too much and like spoil too much of the book, but it's intriguing. And the way it ends, I was like, can I have the book yesterday? I need book 2 yesterday. And I'm grateful that the second book does actually come out this year as well, because the first one comes out yesterday. It came out on the 13th of February, and the next one comes out in November. So I am going to beg and plead and just hopefully just put out all the good motions that I can and feelings and vibes to send to Angry Robot to send me the second book, because I needed it yesterday. Like I need to know what happens next. Like I have this burning desire, and I'm just like, you can't end on that. Like it does end on like a very big cliffhanger. And I was like, we're just ending the story there? I like immediately like turned it off and like shut the book down and like messaged my friend and was like, we're just ending the book right here. This is what we're doing. This is how it's ending. And that's not fair. I need the next book yesterday. In which I was telling her all about it, and she was like, this book is so interesting. And I was like, I know, right? Like, it's fun. It's wild. You never know what's going to happen next. It's creative, it's imaginative, and it's compelling. And it just kind of like sucks you in and like absorbs you into the story. And you're just like, oh, I have to know. I have to know. And I do think all of the characters do shine in their own ways. There's a character who comes in later on in the story where I had her for 5 seconds, and I was like, if something happens to her, I will riot. I will absolutely riot. Like, and there's something about the way the character building was done in this that I was just like, I love everyone. Now, I will say the point of the book is the journey, okay? But it's not one of those books where the journey is boring and you're like, why are they just riding a horse and going from here and there? Like, every moment of this journey, something is happening, and that's kind of like the point of the story. Like, there is a plot, there is an end goal of what they're trying to get to and how they're trying to get to it, and they're uncovering more information about what Gogmagog is. and you're learning more about like the world and such as you go on. But like the main aspect is this journey and going on this journey and living this journey with these people and how this journey is affecting them. So it's a journey-based book that is definitely worth looking into. That's like the best way I can say that. Either way, this is fantastic. Like I said, I'm giving it 5 stars. I loved it. There was only like one chapter where I was like, okay, we're taking a little bit too long to get to the point. Let's go, let's move it. But it's not enough to where I'm gonna like drop the score, because like I said, I cried multiple times. And I know I'm more sensitive than a lot of other people, but there were just, the parts that got to me were just, they were very beautiful and emotional, and I was just like, I can't handle this, stop it. And it's so funny because when I read my books, I want to cry, that's what I want, but then like when it happens and I am crying, I'm like, stop making me cry, I can't handle this, I can't handle it, stop. But it's what I want. Like, that's, if you want a 5-star out of me, you have to either have me super, super entertained and I have to like every single aspect, or you have to make me a blubbering, crying mess. And this one definitely did that. So definitely check out Gogmagog. It is already out. It came out on February 13th. It is on shelves. It is worth looking at. That's what it looks like. You know, it's an interesting, wild little ride. Give it a shot. That's all I have to say. So that is my review for Gogmagog. If you guys are interested in it, let me know. If you've read it, let me know. And like, subscribe, comment, all of those great things. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.